Hey guys, and welcome to another one of my #1 Sentai Gozyuger episode commentary and reviews. This time it's episode 15, Stop the June Bride. And I just want to say before we get into the episode, if you do enjoy what you see and what I say, please remember to like and subscribe. It does mean so much to a small channel like this. And I got to say thank you to everyone who has, because in the last couple of months since I started doing these Gozyugers, like, my subscriber count has quadrupled, which, considering I wasn't that high in the first place, isn't a lot, but 200 is still a lot more than 50. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed already. And with that out of the way, let's get into the episode. So the episode opens on a rainy day in No.1 World with Bouquet updating her Rikuo shrine, as Garyudo comes up to Queen Tega June and he shows her that he's actually gotten another 11 Sentai rings for her, which she says is enough to begin the ceremony. As she says she can feel her power becoming stronger and it's time to make her wish come true. And as the three start to leave, she says, no, there's 3 divine treasures you must gather for me. And they each get given a compass, showing them the way. Bouquet does ask if it isn't too soon for this sort of thing, because they haven't found the destined pilots, which Fire Candle questions as well, and then he's like, what pilot? But it turns out Bouquet's explained it before. Just like Tega Sword has his pilots, the Queen is looking for someone who will draw out her true power. Which is why the No.1s are constantly fighting for position as #1, which Fire Candle seems to only now be learning. As Garyudo asks his Queen, could she choose him as her pilot? And he swears he will make her dream come true. So back in the real world at the cross-country haunted houses, Herrero is taking entry fees to the haunted house, as Samino comes up and pays for 1 adult ticket. Herrero's kind of surprised to see her, but she says, what, I'm here for the haunted house. And she's filling out a stamp book. However, Fire Candle, following his compass, appears in front of them as well, as both rangers prepare to fight. But Fire Candle says he doesn't have time to deal with them today, and as he points up at the sign in confusion, he runs into the haunted house. As the two chase after him, and Herrero says, there's an entrance fee! Back at the half-century cafe, Ryuji and Kinjiro are both over the moon at some amazing strawberries that have come in. But, following their own compass, in come Mr. Shining Knife and Mrs. Sweetcake. Thinking that the enemy has finally found them, the 2 rangers transform. Back in No.1 World, Queen Tega June tells Garyudo a story of, and it turns out she was actually created by humans in the shape of Tega Sword. She was an AI with the power to create worlds. The No.1s and the Bredan are all her kin, all artificial intelligence. But saying that who says an imitation doesn't have to be more powerful, she brings up a screen showing Herrero's Decaclaw, creating a dark version for Garyudo. She wants to take the imperfect world of men and recreate it perfectly. As Garyudo says, his life is hers to use as she sees fit. In the haunted house, the 3 of them are searching together, as Herrero and Fire Candle seem to be creeped out a little bit, while Samino just tortures them a little bit more. Fleeing to another room, Fire Candle's compass lights up, and opening a small cupboard, he finds the Candelabra of Blessing, before he and Herrero get sprayed in the face. Back at the cafe, the Rangers and Mr. Honey and Miss Sweetcake are circling. But as Ryuji goes to attack, Miss Sweetcake compliments the cafe, and Mr. Shining Knife compliments the idol of Tega Sword, causing Ryuji to power down, saying that they're obviously more reasonable than he thought. As Kinjiro powers down as well, saying, aren't we going to fight? As Miss Shining Knife and Miss Sweetcake say they'd like just 1 of the strawberries. That would be enough for them. Ryuji tells them no because they're vital to the cafe, and Shiny Knife and Sweet Cake throw a paddy, rolling around on the floor. But as they leave, sobbing, Ryuji changes his mind and offers them one, before they say gotcha and take the whole thing, escaping through the circle on the sign. Elsewhere, Rikuo's in a photo shoot at a flower nursery. As he stops to smell the flowers, he hears a noise, and as he looks over, he sees Bouquet, and her compass is going off for the flowers. As he goes over to talk to her, she kind of has a fangirl meltdown, collapsing to the floor, and when he grabs her and says, "Are you alright?" she gets even more overwhelmed and just tells him he's too close. He explains to her that he's there like because as a favour to the owner, who's a big fan of his, and she says she's putting together a bouquet, to which he says it's a cute bouquet, which all she hears is cute bouquet. He says that if she's going to be giving flowers to others, then he wants to give one to her, picking a flower and putting it in her hair. She calls him awful, saying that she's just trying to be a fan. But when he does these sorts of things, before she falters. But as he apologises, he tells her if it hurts, then just forget about it. And that he'll go and talk with the owner, and she can have all the flowers that she needs. She stops him as he starts to leave and says, "The world is about to change. But don't worry, it's all so that everyone can be happy." Before saying she'll see him around, and leaves to get more flowers. Back in No.1 World, the 3 divine treasures are produced. Pink Bouquet, a cake with strawberries, and the candelabra. As Bouquet says, "For the sake of 2 worlds, let our Queen's wish come true." As Queen Tega June absorbs the divine items. And as a blast of power comes from her, we switch back to the normal world, where the Bridan soldiers are shooting everywhere to scare people as led by Garyudo. First to arrive are Herrero and Samino. As Herrero says, "I thought I could smell you." And he says, "Ah, I knew you'd show up," and lifts up his Deca Claw. As the Gold Bridan gets a hammer and starts hitting all the others on the heads. As all the people that were running around screaming start applauding and saying congratulations as the other Gozyugers turn up. And as Garyudo says death to unwanted guests, the Gozyugers and Garyudo all transform. They all start to fight, with Kinjiro and Rikuo fighting the Bridan, and Ryuji, Herrero and Samino fighting Garyudo, who's able to push them back with his new weapon, surprising Ryuji. Herrero takes out his own Deca Claw and the two begin to fight one-on-one, each using the powers of the Deca Claw. But as Herrero gets knocked back, Garyudo says, "I'll show you how to use the true power of this weapon," before using Garyudo Rampage and attacking all 5 of the Gozyugers at once, sending them flying back into a double circle of people clapping. But as Garyudo says it's time for the nuptials, the people clapping form a square, and as another portal opens above them, they burst into applause, causing a red energy to go through the portal and out an even bigger one, forming a set of stairs, down which comes Queen Tega June. And down on the grounds, the applauding people start to collapse. As the Rangers look up to see Queen Tega June coming down, the people that are on the ground disappear. As Garyudo enters Queen Tega June as her pilot, and Herrero calls for the Tega Sword, forming Tega Sword Deca Claw. As the Queen greets Tega Sword sounds a little concerned. As the Bridans hang in the air by their bell heads, and they ring like church bells. As Tega Sword tells Herrero to be careful, because if he and Queen Tega June are married, it will mean the end of the world. But Tega June says, "You're mistaken. It won't end, but it will begin anew, in the perfect form of her creation." Herrero starts the attack, but Queen Tega June is able to dodge and launches his counter-attack as she transforms into a gun mode and starts shooting Tega Sword, who turns into his sword mode. And as the two fly around attacking each other, seems to be Tega June has the upper hand. So they both change back into their robot forms. Tega June grabs hold of Tega Sword as Gozyuger says, "Let's get married, Herrero." As the two giant robots fight or dance. And Gozyuger says it's time to exchange rings, which Tega June is able to put on Tega Sword's finger, causing pain to both Tega Sword and Herrero. And as his chest light flashes, he tells Herrero to flee, ejecting him from his body. As Ryuji launches himself at Tega June and Kinjiro launches himself up to save Herrero, there's a blast of energy from Tega June and they all go down to the ground, powered down, as Queen Tega June declares herself #1 in love. Goryudo comes down to the ground and approaches his brother, hurt and bleeding on the floor, as he takes his brother's ring. Herrero tells him to give it back, but he can't get up. As Goryudo looks up and says, "You may now kiss the bride," and Queen Tega June pulls in Tega Sword and gives him a kiss, sucking the power out of him, as the Gozyugers watch on and the skies begin to darken. As Goryudo calls out that the Prince of Destruction is born, a light appears in the sky and something in a shining bubble comes down, and the other four Gozyugers' rings disappear from their fingers. As the bubble turns red and power starts to emanate from it, the screen goes dark, and we get narration saying that's how our world ended, and the episode ends. Okay, wow, so episode 15 and the world has ended. That's something. Also, all the rings, the Gozyuger rings have all disappeared. Well, 4 of them we've seen disappear. The wolf one, has that disappeared? Because we know, well, we just saw Goryudo take that. So is that going to be what brings the rest of them back if Herrero can get his ring back? I don't know. Because I don't watch the next time on #1 Sentai Gozyuger parts. Although saying that, where I paused it, I can see the 6th Ranger. You know, so, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the scans and the screenshots and everything else that's been going around for the last week or so. Because I've seen bits when I've been looking up my Formula 1 stuff. I keep seeing people putting all these scans of, I think it's Goju Polar. He's a White Ranger. Well, white and black. It's an interesting design. It's kind of hard to miss unless you click X the second the episode ends, because he's there as soon as you get the next week on part. But I'll talk more about that one next time around. First, I want to talk about Queen Tega June, because again, we've seen the toys, we know how it transforms and all that from YouTube videos, or if you've actually bought it. Obviously, I've done my own review of Tega Sword. But those of you who watch some of my other videos will know that I've recently started doing Gunpla models. I've actually done 3 now. I've got the original one from something 0083, I think it was called, and the aerial from Witch from Mercury. All really cool, but I was watching Queen Tega June and I'm thinking, with the bits hanging down, she does half look a bit like a Gundam. And obviously she flies as well, but you got these bits hanging down at the back that are moving around. I mean, these bits go up and down as well, It's not focusing because it wants to focus on my face, so... Come on, you gonna focus? No? Okay. But fact, if I come in really close, will it focus? Yeah. But yeah, no, it won't. It likes me too much. But yeah, so we've got the flaps. It just reminded me of Gundam, which is kind of funny. Where I've literally just started building the things, and we get Tega June, who looks like a Gundam. Um, Ryuji, I didn't think he would be fooled. Or Kinjo. I mean, Kinjo is supposed to be an old man. So you'd think he'd be wise to people pulling a fast one? And yet he still got fooled along with Ryuji. They're like, he's like, well, we're not going to fight? Fight them! If they want something, it can't be good. And Rikuo, he knows who Bouquet is. She doesn't know who he is. Like, in the fact that he was a Gozyuger, unless they found that out last episode. I can't remember if they found out. I don't think, no. I think, I'll have to watch last week's one again. Did they find out? I can't remember. But, yeah, I don't think she knows that he's a Gozyuger. Unless she found out last episode. I honestly can't remember. I've slept since then. That, and it's so hot. I've actually got a fan blowing full blast right next to me. Because it's really hot. I've literally just been out doing, like, the garden, all the mowing the lawn and all the rest of it, and clearing the path just to try and get everything sorted and ready, and so the wife wouldn't complain with me doing this. But yeah, the fact that, you know, he tells her, you know, get the flowers you want, I'll tell the owner to let you. That Ryuji was gonna let Shining Knife and Sweet Cake have the strawberry. Okay, he got tricked and they took almost all of them. But you're still going to let them have one when they said that's all we need. It's like, they're bad guys. Why are you letting them have what they want? And at least Herrero and Samino was sort of like, what are you up to with Fire Candle? And he and Herrero are just way too similar. Part of me feels like Bouquet and Fire Candle are going to be like... it's been too long since I've seen it, so I can't remember the names of them. But the three bad guys from Dom Brothers that end up being part of the full Dom Brothers roll call in the final episode. Because it was, if they killed the monster of the week, then the people inside were killed. So it had to be one of the Dom Brothers that killed them to save the people inside. But by the end of it, those three had come over to the main team. I think that's what's going to happen with Fire Candle and Bouquet. Just because they're interacting so much with, like, the Rangers, that it just feels like they're going to turn. And also, Bouquet's, like, convinced that it's all going to be for everyone's happiness. Well, the sky's gone dark and there's a big pulse away, like, energy wave. And the ending says, this is how our world ended. So, that doesn't sound like happiness to me. But hey, that's just me. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. Only a couple more Duranger episodes left to watch, so I'm going to be finishing them. I've literally just got like my main edits. I've done the first edit on the last episode now. I've just got to do all my camera work for them. All these talking to camera bits that I don't even know if people even like, but hey, it makes the video longer. And I think a few people do like them. And yeah, I think it's still between Gokaiger and Dairanger, but I am slightly leaning more in favour of Dairanger. Like, people's comments will convince me eventually. But I'm going to take a few weeks, like, between finishing one series and starting another. So it's going to give me a chance to go through a whole bunch of series, hopefully. Get out the first episodes as the 50th anniversary stuff. And we'll just see what people actually want to watch. Because I may do something completely different, but those are the two I'm thinking of at the moment. But hey, I'll see you next time, guys. And remember, be number one.